Hey, what's going on, guys? Minutes on 518 here, and we have another upgrade for Sasha, my Tacoma. So I don't have all the parts yet. I only have the main thing, but the mount itself is not a part of the company that made the item. Anyways, so today we're going to be installing a ScanGauge into the truck. For those of y'all that have watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I have this little like dash mounted LED display thing that shows speed and some other stuff. This is going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to do it better because this one's going to show me more things like transmission temperature and I don't know, oil pressure, stuff like that. But it's also going to show me engine codes and give me the ability to clear them. So when I get engine codes in, I don't have to pull out my code reader and unplug my dashboard thing in order to read them. I just use the ScanGauge. So it plugs right into your OBD2, which means it's like an instantaneous install. You just have to run the wires. I am going to be mounting it to the left of my steering wheel. And in fact, the mount itself is going to be mounted right here. It's going to follow this curve, and then the ScanGauge is going to rest somewhere in this relative area. I'll probably mount it a little bit lower, maybe blocking the vent just a little bit, because the mount that I'm getting is going to have two mounting points, and one of them is going to be for a GoPro to be able to do what I'm doing right now, but while I'm driving. So anyways, we're going to get right into it. Let me crack open the box and we'll see what comes in the kit. So in the package, you have all sorts of the standard stuff. You have your OBD2 plug with kind of like a telephone wire that's going to connect to the back of the ScanGauge. You get yourself a little magnet mount, and then they actually included a mount with it, which is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that, but it was like a $200 and some thing. So anyways, inside of this nice little styrofoam boxy poo we got here is the ScanGauge. So it's not super huge, right? It doesn't have like a screen protector on it, which is interesting. I might have to cut some clear vinyl or something like that. But as you can see, there's the plug goes in the back, and then we can put this mount somewhere on here. Now, like I said, I will be mounting this probably about there, and then I'll be able to run the GoPro up above and to the right of the gauge. But the mount itself, I think, is going to have to, or the magnet itself is going to have to be on the left, because the mount is going to be somewhere over here, and that just kicks it out to that way. So I'm going to put that magnet mount on the back. They also included a little alcohol wipe, so you can wipe it down real good, get it nice and clean before you put the mount on, or the magnet on. The cable itself, for now, I'm going to run just along the inside of the door. So if I open the door here, you can see the cable running for, well, this one, the small one right there is for my GoPro, or not my GoPro, my dash cam. But I'm not going to be needing this anymore, the RS Tech heads-up display. So I'm probably going to have to end up pulling my A-pillar in order to take this out. But I'm going to run the cable for the gauge behind it, and then just down this side, and then plug it into the OBD2, which is right down here, next to your left foot on the driver's side of the driver's side. That's not too bad. As I said, this being set up where it is right now is entirely temporary, and will be changed when I get my actual mount for the side. But for now, that's good enough. So this is what it looks like once it pulls up. The scan button, that's going to scan for all of your engine codes. I don't have any active ones right now, so it's not going to show me any. Gauge, this lets you select your gauge. You've got 3 different presets that you can set up down there. Tapping the thing will change it. I got to figure out why it's doing this weird light thing. I think I did something weird. So I'll just kind of show you here, because I just did it. So this is the owner's manual, right? And if we go to the home button, hit setup, the advanced tab, which is on the top right, it'll pull up this drop down menu, and you can select a Wi-Fi. And then after you do that, you can select the newest software version for the ScanGauge, and it will download. There it is. Cool. Well, we got rid of the alert thing, so that's neat. If we go back to setup, ooh, I can do a purple. That's super dope. Vehicle, we can change all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna have to go through here and kind of mess around with it. our temperature, or our units for all of the things. Obviously, it's in American right now. If you have a miles per hour and all that sort of stuff, you might need to adjust it in order to actually match what your current speed and stuff is, right? Which I had to do with the Aristech heads-up display, wherever the hell I put that. Oh, it's down here. I had to do it with this one as well, adjust it and all that sort of stuff, just because, well, it's not going to be perfect from the factory. But yeah, so if you went to advanced here and you hit on Wi-Fi update, you can connect to the Wi-Fi and then you can do an update. But the other thing that I want to find, there it is, ScanGauge. So if we go to ScanGauge and we go to view list, we can add our own gauges. Hold up. Maybe it's not view list. Manual entry. Yeah, so manual entry, you can type in the code specific to the gauge. So you have to go to the website, and I'll pull that up right now so that you can see it. And this is why I need to have a GoPro mount in the car facing this way, because I'm currently using my knee and my window to hold you up. And I'm going to type in ScanGauge. We'll go to ScanGauge.com. I don't know why my Wi-Fi is so slow sitting out here. Cool. That one. That one. OBD2. And then we'll click on Toyota. 2008 to present. And this gives us all these. Now, I don't really understand why, like, you have a transmission temperature, and then you have a transmission temperature alternate, and then another transmission temperature alternate, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then a, you know, I don't understand why there's so many of these. And the codes don't really change, or the notes or anything like that, so I'm just going to take the first one. It's either going to be the first one or the last one, right? And we're going to take, as you can see at the top here, where it says TX, oh, I guess I got to show you this. So you can see at the top where it says TXD, and it's right there. We're going to type into this, whatever that stands for. So 072, hit next. RXF 056, and then all the rest are zeros. RXD 3008. MTH, this is stupid, 0009. Next. Name. Oh boy. Can I do caps? Uppercase. Trans. Temp. Save. Cool. So that one's in there, I think. Hold up. Auto scan. I'm curious what this does. Ah. Oh, and it tells you current gear too. All my tire pressures. Tire temperature. No shit. That's cool. So I'm getting this all set up, and I realized that on the ball mounts here, there's tiny little Taco Garage logo, which is super cool. So I don't know if these are just CNC'd. They look like they're CNC'd, probably in-house, but that's super neat. So it's super, it's high quality hardware from the looks of it, and really, really nice looking materials. Very pretty. I like it. Sweetness. Well, there you have it. My ScanGauge is all set up on the ball mount, and I'll have to do something fancy for running the GoPro to be somewhere probably right about here. But man, it is sturdy, and it looks incredible. It's nice and tucked up into the corner. It looks great. I like it a lot. So there you have it. That is the Taco Garage driver's side mount. So I've been driving with the ScanGauge for about a month now. I've got my screens all set up, and I really like this thing. It's amazing to be able to see what gear the truck is in, because the Tacoma, specifically the 3rd gen Tacoma, I think the 2nd gen as well, because they're the same drivetrain, has a lot of shifting issues, and I'm actually going to be fixing that very shortly. So I have a video that's going to be coming out at some point, probably in a few weeks, that talks about my experience with the stock Tacoma tune, effectively, engine transmission tune, and then the upgraded overland torque tune that I will be having put down, installed in my truck, which apparently makes it an entirely new vehicle. The ScanGauge lets me see those gears and what's going on with the truck and the shifting and all that sort of stuff, so I can get you guys, I guess, a more accurate depiction, or a more quantitative depiction of what's happening while I'm driving. So it's amazing. Being able to see temperatures, the transmission temperatures, the oil temperature, the coolant temperature, is really beneficial to me while I'm driving. Not so much around town, but I get to see the standards that the temperatures are usually at for everyday driving, so that I know if something is wrong while I'm on the trail. So that's really nice to have. Battery voltage, another great one to have, which kind of gives you general health idea of what's going on with the battery. Obviously, that's not something that you need every day. But the other really cool thing is that the ScanGauge it tracks your gas mileage. And so when you fill up, you tell the ScanGauge, it doesn't track, you know, that you filled up. You have to do it manually, but you tell it how much gas that you added and how much money you spent on that gas, and it's going to tell you pretty much how much per mile that you end up using, and I'll show you that here in a second. So if I flip you over here, okay, I love the refresh rate of the screen. That's going to be fun to look at. So you can, let me make it brighter for you. So you can set up a couple of different screens. This one has pretty much everything that I'm ever going to want to look at from the truck. Nothing super crazy. Battery voltage, coolant temp, gear, trans temp, oil temp. I already showed you all that. Mass airflow is just kind of cool to look at, and then miles to empty naturally. I've been sticking right around on this second screen that I set up, which shows pretty much the same stuff, but also gives me instant miles per gallon, which is pretty cool. And then my third screen I have set up is more for when I am off-roading, overlanding, that kind of thing, because I want to be able to see the coolant temp and the oil temp a little bit better. But if I tap the center button here, and then I pull up more, and then I go to fill up, so I can type in, I already have my tank size put in here, but I can also put in the amount of fuel in gallons that I've added and how much I paid. So this is the last time that I filled up, it was 264. It's a bit higher now, but what that does for me, exit without saving, yes, is I can go to trip, and it gives me all sorts of crazy data, trip miles per gallon, trip fuel used, all the things based on the amount of time that you've been driving, basically, that this has been on, along with your maximum coolant temperature, RPM, speed, all that sort of stuff. But it also tracks it for today, so how many miles you've gone today, miles per gallon today, and how much money you've spent on gas today, which is pretty cool, and obviously total drive time. Previous, I believe, is just previous day, and then tank, this is overall, right? So the amount of fuel that I've used in my tank, the distance I've gotten out of it, and then how much the tank costs per dollar overall. So it's pretty neat, you know, for anybody that's really looking to, I guess, micromanage their fuel use. Go back to the gauges. So if you're really looking to be able to like micromanage your fuel use and see what your habits are while you're driving around to help save a little bit more money on fuel, I don't know. So something else that's pretty neat that I discovered about the ScanGauge here is this page right here. I didn't realize it was one of the options when you could choose like the number of items that you're getting to view. But this is like the eco page or something like that, which once again, just in the settings tab, is one of the page options. But it shows you your instantaneous fuel economy, your average fuel economy for the trip, and then that big blue circle, you know, the more fuel economy I'm receiving, right, or whatever the phrasing is, the blue circle will go up. The white line is going to be your overall average. It's pretty cool. So the other thing that I'm really not that big of a fan of, I guess there's two things. So first, there's no auto dimming function to the ScanGauge, which is really unfortunate, right? Because if I have to manually slide, which, you know, sliding two fingers is really not hard, but when I get into my car and everything else is automatically like dims and brightens, you know, then there shouldn't be an issue. But I don't know. So anyways, not having that as an option, which is an automatic dimming function, you know, just a little light sensor, light diode, something like that on the backside that sees the sunlight is really all you need, right? But they didn't include it. So that's a little unfortunate. And then the other thing is, so if we're looking at the screen here, the main screen, we have, of course, all of our individual screens that we can choose from. And then I have to click the center button right here and click on trip in order to pull up all of the trip stuff and all the fuel data and all that sort of thing. I think it would have been nice if that was an option on the main screen. So like here where that center home button is that brings you to here, you know, instead of having trip as a separate button right there, possibly just having it as an individual screen, or not screen, but like maybe, yeah, even a fourth screen option or something like that. Not as a number 4, but like a T for trip or something. Just one less button click. I don't know. Obviously that's super nitpicky. This thing is amazing. It does so much more than I thought it was going to when I bought it. It looks cool. It gives me a heck of a lot of information about the car while I'm driving, so I'm absolutely in love with it. Those are just two little things that I've kind of thought about while I've been driving around the last month or so with this sitting in the car. So yeah, there you have it. The ScanGauge thing is freaking sweet. If you don't have one in your Tacoma, highly recommend getting one because, I mean, well, unless you don't care about any of those numbers and stuff, but it's just, I like having data. I like seeing the health of my truck while I'm driving it. And then, of course, like I said, my main reasoning for getting it was the ability to clear engine codes, which I haven't gotten a single one since I had the ScanGauge installed, because I fixed the issue that kept throwing engine codes that I was resetting while driving, which is probably fine. I've kept you guys long enough with my rambling. I hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Midnight sign out.